Hey everybody, welcome back to our channel. I'm Nori.
And I'm Rita.
And today we're going to discuss our northern upbringing
versus our southern roots.
So let's get into it.
Here we go.
Rita and I are actually from a small town called Williamsburg, New Jersey. It's right in between Camden and Trenton.
But for the past 3 years, we've actually been living here in Atlanta, Georgia.
So today we're going to talk about the similarities and differences between living up north and living down south. So Rita and I actually lived down south before. We attended Full Sail University in Winter Park, Florida, and we stayed there for about 6 years until we graduated in 2016.
After moving back to Jersey, we got into the AV industry and started working in Philadelphia. And that's how we got down here in Georgia.
One of the first things that we realized was significantly different from living up north was the weather. Gosh. It's nowhere like Florida's weather. Like Florida, it rained every day. You just knew it was coming. So there's two different things that we thought about moving to Georgia as far as just the weather. The heat.
In the summer to the fall to early winter for some reason.
Yeah.
Was just almost unbearable. It's like, just melt my skin off, why don't you?
On the flip side, I didn't expect the winters to be so cold because I thought it's closer to Florida. They're buddy. It's going to be like tropical weather all the time.
Exactly.
We get to go to the beach, but absolutely not.
Nope.
So the summer times is like, you just, no matter if you're walking down the street, walking to your car, I've had plastic bottles melt inside of my SUV. That's how hot it gets down here. Up north, our summers are really nice. Like you have hot summers.
Yeah.
But that's like, it's like even when you go to the beach, like some days if you go to the beach up north when it's hot, it's like either it's a little bit on the cool side because you got the Jersey Shore breeze.
Right.
But then down here, no. And on top of it, y'all don't even have a beach.
How dare you?
We have to go all the way to Savannah. Why am I telling you? We got to go all the way to Savannah just to get a decent beach. And that's like 4.5 hours away from where we live right now. Anyway.
You see these eyes? These are judging eyes. I'm judging. Totally judging right now.
Another thing that was significantly different is when Rita and I first moved down here, like Rita said, we were working in AV. For those of you who don't know what AV is, it stands for audio visual. We worked for another company that shall go unnamed. Because Rita technically still works for them at this point in time. I was stationed at the Marquis Hotel downtown.
And I was stationed at the Hilton.
Yes. Rita originally was at the Marquis, but I ended up getting a job there.
She booted me. That's what happened.
I didn't boot you. We just, for some stupid reason, they wouldn't let siblings work there. And the craziest thing, what did they tell us why?
They hired a married couple. Come to find out, like,
the husband started cheating on his wife with someone who worked at the hotel.
Yeah.
And then the wife ended up fighting that woman because, you know, women always go after the woman and not beat the mess out of their husbands or their man.
I would have did both, but you know.
Yeah, exactly. Just depending on the situation.
But here's the thing. It's like, how can you equate that same thing, husband and wife,
exactly.
to sisters?
I'm going to cheat on Rita. What am I going to do? Find somebody in the hotel and be like, we're sisters now.
Sister.
Exactly. That's just a crazy
That already happened once.
What?
You know, in college.
What
ended up happening. Yeah. That's a story for another time.
Working in the hotels, it was significantly different.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody knows up north is very fast paced. Everybody's just in their own lane. It's just going with the flow. Don't get my way. I won't get in your way. Our hotels, everybody in the hotel worked seamlessly together. Like we were very fortunate to get placed at really good hotels up north.
Definitely.
And then when we got down south, it's just like...
we were very fortunate to get placed in the hotels that we were placed in.
Yes.
Down here.
But even still and yet, they came with their quirks.
They really did.
Everybody didn't like each other. Everybody just worked super slow just to kind of drag out the clock.
Yeah.
And everybody was just like in a bad mood.
Like, I don't know what it was when we came down here, because usually it's like up north how we did it. We made a plan, we executed it, and if we had some time to spare on clock, then we either, with permission, could either stay. If not, then everybody had to go home.
Exactly.
Which was cool. Like, who doesn't want to get off work early?
Yes.
But down here, it's like, we make a plan, it's slowly executed, but then people are coming back and it's like, what was the plan again?
Exactly.
Like, I never got that.
It was the craziest thing. And look, some of the people that we worked with were amazing people. Yeah. And it was surprisingly...
Like
all of them were from up
mainly
north.
Being up north.
Yeah, a lot of our really core group of friends, even the ones we have to this day, minus maybe 4 out of the 12, are all from either New York or New Jersey.
Yeah.
So all of that was really awesome because one of the things that I was very concerned with moving from up north and working in such a great hotel, shout out to the Lowe's Philadelphia, is all of us really worked so well together. Give or take, there was a couple of employees, or at least one, that I didn't really get along with. It was hit or miss.
Not be named.
It was hit or miss. But at the end of the day, when it came to working, we could put all of our grievances aside and we could just focus on the task at hand and all chip in equally and work. So moving down here, I was very concerned that we weren't going to have that camaraderie between our coworkers and stuff. And it was crazy because her and I couldn't really work together.
Which really sucked because we work very well together.
We really do. We argue like cats and dogs.
But, I mean, you know, that's just how sisters are.
But at the end of the day, it's like Rita and I really know how our work ethic is like one of the best things about us.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
like we're really, really good at what we do. Oh, attitudes towards Northerners. That was another thing.
And they would be very unprovoked.
Yes.
Like, we wouldn't even really be doing anything.
Standing
like
in the Starbucks line.
That, or your most famous story, like getting bread.
Oh my God. This was like in 2019. And
You're
Trump
fired.
obviously was the president at the time, unfortunately. And I was in Walmart and I'm walking up the aisle and I'm in the bread aisle. And I'm like, oh, do I want to get the Sara Lee bread? Do I want to get the whole grain bread? What kind of bread do I want?
Hashtag non-spam.
And this elderly lady comes up and my cart is in her way. And I'm just like, oh, am I in your way? She's like, oh, I just wanted the bread. And so I passed her the bread she wanted. And then she was just like, you're not from here, are you? I was like, no. She's like, I could tell. You walk very aggressively. I was just like, how do you walk aggressively pushing a cart? That is the craziest thing to me. I don't even understand how the two can, like, but even when we were standing in the Starbucks line, and it was crazy because this was probably our first week there, and both of our hotels were connected by a sky bridge. Yeah. And so we always got coffee together at the morning.
In the morning.
We're gonna get coffee.
We always like got coffee together because we would commute to work together.
Right.
Obviously, because she's the only one who drives. But, you know, I digress. In the line, there was a lady who was from Philadelphia, and like it was just freezing cold. It was during the winter. And so the lady was just like, oh, it's just so cold. And we're like, I know, like, we didn't expect it to be the cold. And she was like, neither did I. And I'm from Philly. And I thought it was just going to be so hot in Georgia during the winter. And so we just, like, started talking and having, like, a really good conversation.
Mind you, there was this person in front of us, but she was just, like, her face was in her phone.
She was, like, in her phone. And then she just turns back and she's like, there's other people in this line. We're like,
excuse me.
Okay. And then she says something about like being in Atlanta and being in Georgia and stuff.
If us Northerners didn't like the weather so much, then we shouldn't come down here.
Right.
That was one of the things
that
she said.
Of the things.
Another time there was a lady like our first week and she was just like, you two are new here. And we're like, yeah. She's like, oh, where y'all from? And we're like, New Jersey. And she's just like, oh, y'all, I just gotta let y'all know, y'all can be very aggressive and very abrasive, and y'all work too fast. So y'all need to kind of just slow it down. Don't have your irregular attitudes. Calm down and just like, you know, assimilate properly. What does assimilate? And now, mind you, minus the girl in the Starbucks line, because of course the girl in the Starbucks line was white. Oh wait, minus the lady in the Walmart who asked me to pass
minus
the bread.
The two stories that we actually
told. The other one, mainly a lot of the people that we worked with were black. And that was another thing that was fun. That was one of the weird things of moving down here is up north, we were 2 of maybe 6 black people in our company, in like our immediate area. Yeah. And then tables, everything just
switched. Like there's probably, that I've seen, probably like around like 6 like white people. Right. Really, like in our level, there's probably like around like 6 people versus like a whole bunch of other black people.
Right, exactly. We grew up with a Southern mother. Our mom is from Georgia. Yeah. And so we always heard about this, like, oh, this breakfast food and this assortment.
And the soul food and all that. Like, it's just, I think it's the flavors. Yeah. It's just not as, like, impactful as we were, like, I guess like hyping it to be, because it was just like everything, like it's either really salty or it's super sweet. It's like there's no like in between or whatever.
One thing y'all have that dominates everybody else is sweet tea. y'all all gonna die from diabetes. It's so thick with sugar.
It is.
And
like, we literally went to Chick-fil-A not too long ago and got sweet tea from, it was like syrup.
It was horrible.
It was literally like syrup. Like, we literally poured a little bit in another cup when we got home and filled the rest up with water.
Pretty much.
Like,
and it flavored us. We literally could keep it in the fridge and just like pour it in water and just dilute it. And literally we had a whole different cup of tea.
Exactly. I will say the thing that saved it was K-Town.
Korean food is the best thing.
Oh yeah,
here in Georgia.
I think the best thing on earth, but you know that's just me. I'm kind of biased on that. I'm just saying.
My thing is up north, Chinese food is like a staple.
But actually, I found out a statistic that there's a lot more Koreans in Jersey than there are here.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, where are the restaurants at?
I don't know.
All right, you Jersey Koreans, y'all need to let us know because we know about Eden and Cherry Hill because we lived there for 20 years and y'all ain't never ever offer us a plate. But anyway, K-Town down here, amazing. We go to Miss Gogi, we go to Gooey Gooey.
I call it Gooey Gooey, but it's 9292. I just call it Gooey Gooey.
Because she speaks fluent Korean and yada yada yada. Let's not get her started because she won't shut up about it.
Okay. Speaking about food, accents. And the reason why I say this is because here's the correlation. 2 days after we moved down here, a friend of ours, we had went to IHOP and we were ordering food and I was just like, oh, I don't really want grits or anything. The waiter came up and I was like, instead of the grits, can I just get a side of fries? And she was like, oh no, we don't have that here. And I was just like, oh, you don't? I was like, oh, okay, well then I'll just, no bother, I'll just get the grits then. And then my friend was like, oh, wow, that really sucks that you guys don't have fries. And she was like, no, honey, we have fries. And then he was just like, but that's what she just ordered. And she was like, no, I thought that she wanted rice. I was just like, huh? I was like, no, I asked for fries, not rice. And then she was like, where are you from? I was like, Jersey. And she was like, oh, it's your accent. I can't really understand your accent. I don't have an accent. I'm like the news. They ain't got no accents.
It's so crazy when people be like, oh, we don't really understand what you guys are saying. Like, when we're mad, if we get angry, really our accents come out. We're like all in oohs and oohs. But like here, they be saying that they can understand our accent. We can't understand a syllable of what they're saying.
Not one.
It has taken us the full 3 years of being here to just understand.
Nope. I cannot understand you guys. Friends, they do the accents all the time.
They not short.
And I don't even understand what they say. Like they do the accent very well. Yeah. There's obviously, you know, I can understand a lot of people. Yeah. But there's just some people who have very thick accents and I cannot
I feel
understand.
Like when we first came down here, I felt like Marlon when Squirt was talking to him.
Yes.
It's like he's trying to speak to me, I know it. It's crazy that they will say they can't understand us. But when we say we can't understand them, they'll be like, huh?
Ha. That's exactly ha. Like when I was at work one time, my boss, he was literally like, I'm gonna teach you some Georgian slang. And then so I'm like, okay. And then he was like, so, wrench around there. And I'm like, who did what with a wrench? Like, what? He was like, no, wrench around there. And then my friend Millie, like she works with me too, and she was like, wrench around there. That's what it is, wrench around there. I'm like, I can't say I know what you're talking about. And they're like, it's reach around there. I said, that's not what you said. It's
weird. Our dad is from Miami. Our mom is from Georgia. But my mom does not have an accent at all. Like her and our auntie Linda, they do not. And they lived here for over 20 years. Mm-hmm. They grew up here in Valdosta, Warner Robins area. Yeah. And they don't have an accent. So we didn't ever... We heard things like "guh," "little guh," and stuff like that.
Because they still say those words. Yeah. They say like certain words, but like they're them just talking. They don't have an accent. Which is them talking.
No. One thing that really took me for a loop to encompass everything, the Southern hospitality. I have been looking for it since the day we got here.
Me too, girl.
It's so crazy. And they like to blame it on us. They're like, oh, well, you know, a lot of people from the North or from different parts of the United States, they'd be moving here and they just they make everything harder. They don't actually say that. They'd be like, okay.
I feel like this kind of turned into a diss.
A lot of people think that living up north, we are heartless or, we're just very rough and rude people. But we have something that Georgia doesn't. And you know what that is called? Wawa. No matter if you are Hispanic or Asian or black or white or a Teletubby, you can stand next to somebody in Wawa and you will bond over pouring your coffee, putting creamer in your coffee, stirring your coffee. Like, that is just the thing that we do.
I miss Wawa.
Another thing is, like, people hold the doors open for you at Wawa. Obviously, your gas is pumped for you in New Jersey. We're not allowed to touch the pump, but it's just so different. And so I always grew up thinking we are the rough and tumble, up north. But moving down here, it was so crazy to see how rude people were to each other and how mean people were to each other. And I remember getting like cursed out by a homeless guy just because I didn't have $10. And I gave him, I was like, I had a bag of chips. I had just came from the grocery store. I don't carry cash on me. And I'm like, I don't have cash, but I can give you one of my bag of chips. And he's just like, I don't effing want that. Sir, you are homeless. You can take what you can get. Like, beggars can't be choosers.
Yeah.
Get away from my car. We love Georgia. We do. Yeah. We do. But it's just, it took us a while to get used to everything.
Yes,
and I still think we are still getting used to everything. Like I said, we've only been here for 3 years, and we grew up. Me and Rita are as hardcore New Jersey lovers as there are.
Except for, never mind.
Except for what?
Except for the Eagles. We don't.
Yeah.
Well, they're Philadelphia.
Yeah,
but Jersey still likes them.
Yeah, we like the New York Giants. Thank you very much. Like, we like teams that actually win more than once every 3,000 years.
I feel like now we're kind of talking about Philly now.
Our second to last thing that we're going to talk about when it comes to Georgia is driving. Now, I know you guys are thinking, wait a minute, Nori, how are you talking about Georgia's driving where you come from up north where New York exists? But I will say this. There are two different types of driving. There's organized chaos, and then there's just chaos. And I'm sorry, but that is what Georgia and definitely Florida falls into. Listen, this is a fraud state. I didn't even know what a fraud state was until I moved here. Our mom was involved in a hit and run where this guy had hit her all the way on the sidewalk outside of Rita's hotel. And he just took off. And of course, the traffic lights weren't working. But when I called Geico, because I have Geico, hashtag not spawn. And I was telling them what had happened, and they're like, oh, okay, send us pictures, da-da-da. And then I had a claim adjuster call me and was like, hey, well, we have to do an investigation. And I was like, why do you have to do an investigation? He's like, well, just to ensure that your mom was actually involved in a hit and run. What? I was like, excuse me? He's like, well, Georgia is a fraud state, and unfortunately, some people will hire their brothers, uncles, sisters, brothers, cousins, uncles, friends, stepson to hit them, and then they'll try to get the money for, to do the claim and whatever, you do with the automotive stuff. Yeah. And I was just like, who does that? And he's just like, well, Georgia. He said Georgia, Michigan. He said some other state. I don't know what the other state is. We'll probably put it right down here. And I'm like, get out of Dodge. You must be kidding me. This was the first time I ever heard that. But it's so crazy because I can talk about this. She don't drive.
No. I mean, I just get the secondhand rage when I'm in the passenger seat. Like, this is the thing with her and her boyfriend. They'll both get, really angry at the drivers and stuff and just start talking and saying stuff. But now I notice that even though I don't drive, I do the exact same thing. I'm just like, what are you doing? What do you think you're doing?
It's called a blinker!
Like, why are you just going to cut off that truck and stuff like that?
Yes.
So that's literally what happened the other day when we went to go get Jimmy John's headset. That's fun.
The last thing we have to say about living in Georgia that we actually do not want to get used to is living in a racist kind of environment. Yeah. And it's so crazy, and I know you guys are like, well, there's racism everywhere, but at the end of the day, where we were sheltered, we were homeschooled, we were raised in the church, but we were raised in a non-denominational, democratic family. So we were not around any races besides our next door neighbor who would say hi to us in the morning. We didn't know what it was like. And in New Jersey, you will see people, when we would go back and visit, you would see Trump flags and you would see things hanging from people's cars or bumper stickers or stuff.
Yeah, but you'd see that very minutely than you do down here, though.
Yeah. This was like, while Trump was in office, was the first time that we actually could drive side by side on a highway with a person with a Trump flag, a Confederate flag, a Blue Lives Matter flag, and a noose hanging from their hitch. Like, that stuff is we've never been around it, and it's not okay. At the end of the day, it's so evident that we live in a conservative state versus a more liberal one. And, you know, just when it comes to like things like just that proximity that you are to racism, when we were in Stone Mountain. You know, we actually have video of that.
It was literally, we were walking up the mountain and everything, and on the opposite side coming down, these two men just carrying their Confederate flags, and the one guy is like, oh, don't mind them, don't mind the looks, let's just keep going. It's just like, what?
And in that moment of us seeing those two men, there was a lot of Black people, there was a lot of, a couple Asian people, a couple Hispanic people, but we didn't have to say anything. The white people around us said something, and that's what we need. We have a lot of things that separate us when it comes to, you know, racism and classism and, you know, economic status and all those different things. But when you are in the presence of racism, you do need to say something, and it does need to be stopped.
Because the last thing any of these races want is for people to hate them because of their skin color, because of where they grew up or whatever, but they still justify them doing it to other people.
Of course,
And it's like, that's not okay. It doesn't matter what color you are, where you are, what you do and whatnot, you should always treat somebody the way that you want to be treated.
I'm pretty sure a lot of Black people visualize Atlanta, it's the Black Mecca. I just wish and I hope for our community that we all can be of one mind, one voice, one sound when it comes to a lot of things that are happening to us and also to the other POC communities as well. If we all stick together, we will all overcome all of this and put the racist people in their places. We all just have to come together and realize we are free. That includes the people down south and up north, in the Midwest, everywhere. We are free. We need to realize that for ourselves wholeheartedly, not in just the fact that we don't have shackles and chains on, but when it comes to treating each other nicely and respectfully and loving each other and loving others that don't look like us. You know, white, Black, Hispanic, anybody. We all just need to treat each other with respect. Overall, regardless of all of the things that are different from the up north or similar to the up north, which I don't think we focused on a lot of similarities.
Not really.
But we love Georgia. We do work in the film industry, so we probably are going to be here for a good amount of time. I mean, my boyfriend lives here. He doesn't want to move back up north. I don't know where he wants to move. It's either here or Florida, and I think we're going to stay here. So other than that, Georgia is a great state. We love the weather. We love the people. It's just when it comes to being different, you got to get used to the different. You just got to be open to it.
Definitely.
We just want to thank you guys for watching us rant to you. And we hope you guys have a good day.
So if you liked the video and you want to see more, don't forget to like and subscribe, as well as hit the bell notification. And also, don't forget to follow us on Instagram at ASocial. Bye.
Bye.